up, all my fight fans? We got ourselves UFC 295 this Saturday. We got ourselves MSG this Saturday. We got ourselves 2 title fights on the line this Saturday. We got Yuri Prochazka taking on Alex Pereira for the lightweight heavyweight championship of the world. We got ourselves Tom Aspinall taking on Sergey Pavlovich for the interim heavyweight championship of the world. So let's break this fight down, shall we? Let's start off with the main event. We got ourselves Yuri Prochazka making his return to, which was a very long layoff due to a really bad shoulder tear, or I can't remember exactly, but I knew it had something to do with his shoulder, and it was a really bad injury that made him relinquish the belt that he won from Glover Teixeira back in 2022. He won that back in June, and a really great fight, really great back and forth war, a great performance. It was just a phenomenal. If you guys have not seen that fight, I'd highly recommend you go check it out. But he is coming back for well over a year. I believe it will be, what, like a year and change, maybe a year and 5 months, 4 months. So that's a very long time to be off. And he's not coming in there with, any tune-up or anything like that. He's going in there with the beast himself, Alex Pereira. This is Alex Pereira's second time at light heavyweight. His first time was against Jan Blachowicz back in July 29th. I can't remember exactly what UFC number that was, but that was, he actually had somewhat of a good performance. It wasn't a great war. It wasn't a great back and forth battle, but it was definitely impressive. Because we all know Jan Blachowicz, who is a very good kickboxer himself, but also a very good grappler himself. He wasn't able to do anything much with Alex Pereira. And Alex Pereira being a beast himself, a big old, now light heavyweight himself, he was able to withstand a lot of these grappling attempts and a lot of his striking. So, yes, Yuri Prochazka is going to have his hands full with Alex Pereira for sure. So, but it all remains to be seen. How is Yuri going to be? Is he going to be a new Yuri Prochazka, or is he going to be that old Yuri Prochazka? If he's that old Yuri Prochazka, the one that pretty much dominated Dominic Reyes, the one that went to war with Glover Teixeira, I think he would have a really good chance on beating Alex Pereira. But if he's a little bit less of himself, you definitely do want to be like that with Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira is just an all-around monster, a machine. He is just, he's going to go in there, he's going to be somewhat like the Terminator of the division. We saw him in the middleweight division. We saw what he was able to do with Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland, both champions. And now you got Sean Strickland, the current champion, and Israel Adesanya, the former champion. Yes, he did get knocked out by Israel Adesanya, but we all feel like it was due to the fact that he's been just cutting weight so much. He was a very, very small middleweight, maybe a very big middleweight. And he was just cutting a lot of pounds in order to make middleweight. Now I feel like he's a lot more comfortable. His debut at light heavyweight, it was a little unfortunate, only just due to the fact that it was in Salt Lake City, so it was at high altitude. So I think it was maybe perhaps his first time there with all that weight. So we maybe do not know exactly how Alex Pereira really is going to be. But if Alex Pereira comes in like he was with Israel Adesanya, like he was with Sean Strickland, I do feel like he will have a very, very good time with Yuri Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka's fighting style, we all know, he's like all over the place. He doesn't necessarily, he reminds me of a much larger Dominic Cruz. How Dominic Cruz was just constantly moving, using different type of punches, different style of punches, in and out. He was always all over the place. And that's what Yuri Prochazka kind of is to me as well in the light heavyweight division. Where Alex Pereira, he's more of like the Frankenstein type that's just going to walk forward and pressure you and push you to the cage, is unload really good power shots, use some of those calf kicks, and a great, because we got to remember, of course, he is a phenomenal kickboxer. He just got into the Glory Hall of Fame. So yes, we all know 100% when it comes to striking, I do feel like Alex Pereira has the edge there. When it comes to the ground game, we still don't know exactly how great Alex Pereira's ground game is. We've seen a little bit of Yuri Prochazka's ground game with Glover Teixeira and such like that. So that definitely, I do feel like Yuri Prochazka does have a little bit more of the ground game. And I feel like a lot of guys in the division feel like they know, being the fact that Alex Pereira is a kickboxer, that maybe perhaps he should go down to the ground. They should take him down to the ground. They should utilize some of the grappling, utilize some of the wrestling. But again, easier said than done because we know Alex Pereira is just a monster. He's a beast. He is someone that's very, very difficult to take down and very strong. So if Gary Prochazka has any chance, I do feel like he has to wear Alex Pereira down, and he has to take him down quite a few times and make him very tired, make him very drained. Utilize some of those movements, utilize those crazy punches, those crazy angles he likes to do, and make Alex Pereira very frustrated to where he leaves himself open. If Alex Pereira has a chance, I do feel like it's more of walking Prochazka down, getting him tired, while allowing him to do so much movement, but pretty much connecting with really good shots, really good body shots, keeping him still, pushing him against the cage, utilizes some of that power. And I do feel like if it's going to get done, he needs to try his best to do it within the next couple of rounds, within like the first, second, even third round. If it goes towards the distance, I do feel like Yuri Prochazka has the edge on that one. So there you go, have it, guys. That's my main event breakdown. The co-main event definitely wasn't what we were expecting it to be. We all know the actual original main event was Jon Jones versus Stipe, but Jon Jones ended up tearing his pec muscle, and they pretty much put this fight on the back burner to a more likely International Fight Week, which is in summertime. So we got ourselves Tom Aspinall, who is a great MMA fighter himself, with the powerhouse, taking on the powerhouse himself, Sergey Pavlovich. So what I say to this fight is, Tom Aspinall, he is coming in on this on short notice. 2 weeks, I want to say. Maybe, yeah, 2 weeks. With Sergey Pavlovich, he's always been preparing because he was originally the backup fighter for this fight. He was originally going to be the backup for Jon Jones and Stipe. So he's been pretty much training for quite some time now. But going into this fight, going to break down into this fight, I do feel like Tom Aspinall is the much more experienced, I guess you could say experienced, or the much more technical MMA fighter going into this. Not saying nothing against Sergey Pavlovich. Sergey Pavlovich is very technical himself. Sergey Pavlovich can be a really great MMA fighter himself. He's really strong, really good takedown defense, and he's been in there with some really good fighters himself. But I do feel like looking at Tom Aspinall is almost like the all-round MMA fighter himself. But you can't sleep on Sergey Pavlovich's power. We saw what he was able to do to Tai Tuivasa. We saw what he was able to do to Curtis Blades. We saw what he was able to do to Derek Lewis. So yes, it's definitely nothing that you want to, overlook whatsoever. So if Tom Aspinall is going to get this done, he needs to keep himself on the outside. He cannot trade punches with someone like Sergey Pavlovich. You really, really don't. You really don't want to get caught up in the moment of thinking, oh, I could outbox this guy. I got more power than this guy. No. I really don't recommend him doing that. I recommend him utilizing some of his kicks, utilizing some of his ground game, tiring Sergey Pavlovich out, doing his best to make it very difficult for him, and doing his best to actually end the fight sooner rather than later. Because if he does it sooner, well, then he has a better chance of winning. Because with Tom Aspinall not having so much time to train, we don't know where his cardio is really going to be at. So it's really a good idea to tire Sergey out by using some of those body kicks, by using some of those wrestling and those takedowns, and making it very difficult and exhausting for Sergey himself. So he's also tired going into the 4th and 5th round if this fight goes the distance. So that's the best way for Tom Aspinall to win. Do not exchange punches. Do not trade blow for blow with a guy who hits harder, who probably hits harder than Francis Ngannou. Who knows? So with that being said, Sergey Pavlovich, on the other hand, there's only one way for him to win, and that's knocking out Tom Aspinall, which he is very capable of doing. He has to do his best to watch out for the wrestling, watch out for the kicks, and look for some really good shots, really good opening shots. Create some openings. Do not let this go to the distance, because I don't feel like his cardio is all the great, but then again, we don't know. We really, really don't know, because, Sergey Pavlovich's fights always end relatively quick due to the fact that he has so much power. So, but if anything, I do feel like Sergey can actually get this done with a knockout, whether it be in the 1st or 2nd round, by catching Tom Aspinall. I see him being that strong. I really do see him being that strong. He has scary strength, scary power to knock out anybody. So my picks would be Sergey Pavlovich in the 2nd round by knockout, and I do feel like Alex Pereira could get this done in the 3rd round by knockout, winning over Yuri Prochazka. there you have it, guys. That's my breakdown. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you think is going to win. Let me know what you think the fight is going to be like. Are we going to get some great fights? Are we going to get some knockout of the nights, fight of the nights? Let me know, guys. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.